If you think AI news is moving too fast, this monthly roundup will take you through the boldest breakthroughs that may just redefine our future. We'll start with the jaw-dropping AI that stole the show at CES 2025, then dive into the unsettling world of AI-powered Butcher-Bots that some fear could trigger global conflict. Google is taking things further by recreating our entire world to power superhuman intelligence. Meanwhile, OpenAI, SoftBank, and a surprise cameo from Trump are behind STARGATE, the largest AI project in history. You'll also see an AI robot doing the impossible, meet the new AI robot girlfriend that took everyone by surprise, and learn about OpenAI's latest creation, Operator, which might become your best friend. Then DeepSeek just crushed big tech again with new model called Janus Pro. Could OpenAI have already lit the fuse on the AI Singularity? Microsoft enters the ring with CoreAI in a free release of 5.4. And an advanced humanoid robot stepping out in public has the internet buzzing. Ready? Let's dive into the news that's reshaping our world. So it's day 2 of CES 2025 and the tech world is buzzing. The show is packed with everything from groundbreaking announcements to robots everywhere and AI in almost every booth. You can't go anywhere without hearing about autonomous this or machine learning that. Here's a quick rundown of the top 10 reveals and some cool finds from the show floor, including how AI is transforming everything from baby gear to gaming. So let's get into it. All right, so Samsung introduced a stretchable micro LED display that alters its shape from flat to raised areas on command. It relies on advanced software that analyzes content and decides which sections to expand, which could be useful for certain gaming or medical visuals. SwitchBot demonstrated a household robot capable of vacuuming, organizing items around the home, purifying the air, monitoring pets, and even transporting small plates of food. This unit relies on machine learning to become more efficient over time, so it gradually learns the layout of different rooms and responds to unexpected obstacles. Sony brought an immersive entertainment system that places participants in a multi-sensory setting, where LED panels, haptic guns, and real-time positional tracking blend together. The environment uses algorithms that react to movement and distribute sounds and lighting based on any changes in the player's locations. Lenovo showcased a rollable PC concept with a screen that rises vertically from behind the main body. The rollable display integrates software that recalibrates app layouts when the panel is expanded, preventing layout glitches. MudraLink presented a neural wristband designed to interpret micro-movements in the wearer's arm. It uses electromyography signals, which are translated by an onboard AI model, allowing the user's hand to act like a virtual mouse or keyboard. BMW revealed a panoramic iDrive system that projects critical driving details onto the windshield in a continuous band. The system includes a layer of intelligence that filters out clutter on the HUD, limiting distractions for drivers. Acer displayed an 11-inch handheld gaming PC with enough horsepower for large game libraries, featuring modern AMD components that rely on AI-based optimizations for certain performance and upscaling tasks. Honda unveiled the Zero Saloon electric car, promising robust driver assist features and a system that learns route patterns to tweak battery usage. Unitree demonstrated a G1 humanoid robot with the capacity to carry light items and perform basic tasks, guided by AI-based object detection. Amazfit showed a fitness watch priced at around $100. It includes voice control, offline maps, health metrics, and an app that taps into machine learning to interpret trends over time. Outside of those primary product announcements, there were other notable moments. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang introduced new graphics cards, specialized AI chips, and a $3,000 supercomputer intended for robotics and automated vehicles. Panasonic launched an initiative called Panasonic Go, supported by a multi-billion-dollar investment in Blue Yonder, which has its own language model for supply chain optimization. Panasonic also revealed Umi, an AI-driven wellness coach that offers advice through natural conversations. Some eye-catching robots appeared across the show floor. Mirokai, presented by Enchanted Tools, looked like a fox-like machine that could serve as a concierge or patient companion. It is powered by an AI dialogue setup and includes self-navigation features. RCA exhibited Nipper, a robotic dog that can dance, patrol a residence, and send video notifications if an intruder appears. It adapts to voice commands in multiple languages over a learning phase. Delta discussed a personal AI voice travel assistant within the airline's app. This system would handle flight change requests and personal preferences, helping travelers skip complicated website forms. The USPTO revealed a new collectible card celebrating Dr. Ayanna Howard, an AI pioneer who developed robots designed to adapt to children with special needs. Bosch displayed the Revel Smart Crib, equipped with sensors and cameras that track heart rate, respiratory patterns, and other signals. AI routines enable gentle rocking and an alert system if there is a safety concern, and the crib can later be transformed into a desk. GlocalMe showed off a key tracker for pets that uses multiple coverage options to locate an animal on a worldwide scale. Segway introduced e-bikes under the XFRI and Zyber lines, each with anti-theft and GPS navigation features. Samsung's booth included a deeper look at SmartThings, with a range of connected devices such as an AI washer that stores detergent in a reservoir, a smart tag for pets, and an indoor gardening box supported by sensors that optimize plant growth. WeWalk displayed a new generation smart cane which uses sensors and haptic feedback to guide visually impaired users around obstacles and pairs with a smartphone's AI for navigation assistance. PetCube had a water fountain that filters and purifies water for pets, backed by a UVC light system and an app that tracks daily consumption. Volvo's CEO addressed transportation and infrastructure trends, highlighting the company's path to fossil-free vehicles with added safety features. Atari introduced the Game Station Go, built by MyArcade, containing over 200 Atari titles. It includes controllers like a joystick, D-pad, and trackball, plus an SD card slot. MyArcade also displayed the Game Station Retro Go, which is slightly bigger and comes with Capcom hits like Street Fighter II. Both devices are scheduled for a Q3 release. Neurable introduced a set of headphones, the MW75, that detect the user's brainwaves to measure focus. A demonstration involved a rocket that moved faster or slower depending on the wearer's concentration levels, tracked through EEG sensors. John Deere expanded its AI-focused farming solutions, including self-driving tractors, sprayers that detect weeds or crop areas, and ride-on lawnmowers for large estates or golf courses. Dell announced that it is retiring lines like Latitude and XPS in favor of three main categories: Dell, Dell Pro, and Dell Pro Max, each with base, plus, and premium sublevels. The rebranding aims to simplify consumer choices while still offering different specs and features. XGIMI introduced the Ascend, a large motorized projector screen combined with a soundbar, which pairs wirelessly with the XGIMI Aura 2 short-throw projector. The company hinted that it might integrate AI for brightness and color calibration, though it remains a prototype with no firm release date. Xtool revealed the F1 Ultra, a dual laser engraver with both fiber and diode modules that can engrave metals, plastics, and wood. Its software supports black and white images that can be imported and positioned. The engraver calibrates itself by detecting the distance from the target and then applies powerful lasers in a matter of seconds. Viv Health displayed the Viv Ring for health tracking, which has biometrics such as heart rate, stress levels, and oxygen saturation. Its main twist involves AI-generated ambient soundscapes to improve sleep, combined with typical activity monitoring. A pro version planned for later release may include continuous blood pressure checks and AFib detection. Jackery presented a solar roof designed to resemble regular terracotta tiles. It operates at a 25% efficiency rate, slightly higher than many consumer solar panels, and carries a 30-year warranty. Paired with the Jackery Home Power Energy System, it stores solar energy for use later. ESR launched the Geo Digital Pencil, which costs about $30 and integrates with Apple's Find My system. It only needs half an hour to charge and offers around 12 hours of usage, along with a tilt sensor and palm rejection. Amazfit showed another prototype called V1 Tal, a small camera that sits on a table and uses AI to identify food items being consumed. It pushes the analyzed data, like calories, carbs, proteins, to the Zepp app, creating automatic logs of daily meals. Asus introduced a Chromebook CX14 at around $200, featuring a 14-inch 1080p display and an Intel Celeron N4500 CPU. A 15-inch variant comes in the new Chromebook Plus line with stronger processors at a slightly higher price. Garmin's Instinct 3 arrived with an AMOLED display option and 24 days of battery life. A solar version has a monochrome MIP screen and might go much longer thanks to sunlight charging. It has additional features such as an integrated flashlight and advanced activity metrics. Even with an outdoors focus, the watch can sync with smartphones to receive notifications and track various health parameters, including heart rate variability. The crowds at day 2 seemed lighter than they were on the first day, which gave more room for people to test e-bikes, meet caretaker robots, and see advanced baby crib demos. Many automotive companies showcased improvements in autonomy or new concepts, with Waymo preparing for more expansions in multiple US cities. Sony Honda Mobility displayed prototypes of upcoming EVs, emphasizing AI-based personalization. Panasonic kept returning to the role of generative AI as a foundational piece for wellness and supply chain optimization, while NVIDIA's new chips were behind numerous robotics demonstrations. Day 2 at CES 2025 proved AI is everywhere. Robots handling chores, smart cribs monitoring babies, and brainwave sensing headphones redefining wearables. From autopilot tractors to stretchable screens, it's all about smarter, adaptive tech simplifying life. And this is just the beginning. So, we've got robot dogs sprinting 100 meters in under 10 seconds, humanoid robots rolling off assembly lines by the thousand, advanced AI drones swarming the skies, all while the US and China accelerate some kind of AI arms race that experts say could lead us straight into World War III. And not just any war, a war with fleets of lethal autonomous machines, potentially unstoppable Butcher-Bots. It sounds like a sci-fi horror show, but it's all happening right now. Let's dive in and piece together the shocking story that's been unfolding across multiple reports. Let's start with the big question. Why is everyone talking about China's robots as a game changer for a possible global conflict? Well, for one thing, China has been rapidly advancing its robotics technology, and we're seeing robot canines, humanoid robots, and even ocean-based machines that can do everything from carry supplies to wage war. The tension with Taiwan is intensifying, and President Xi is allegedly preparing the People's Liberation Army, PLA, for a possible invasion by 2027, the PLA's 100th anniversary. Meanwhile, the US is determined to maintain its lead in military AI and robotics and is pouring massive resources into all kinds of advanced research. Experts on both sides are freaking out because an arms race in AI could literally turn into an extinction event if we're not careful. Now let's talk about the crazy stuff we've seen so far. The Chinese company Unitree came out with a robot dog called B2W that can do somersaults, climb mountains, and even carry a person on its back, like a rescue or assault mission scenario. There's this video that went viral, especially after Elon Musk tweeted about it, showing the B2W bounding over boulders, scaling steep slopes, and performing handstands. It has wheels on each of its 4 legs, which means it can roll downhill at speed, turning it into something unstoppable on rough terrain. Imagine that in a combat zone, or hunting you down in some futuristic scenario. That's part of why some folks are calling these things Butcher-Bots or slaughter-bots. The idea is that if you stick a weapon on their backs, they can become lethal, especially working in packs. And if that's not chilling enough, there's also this other robot dog from China, nicknamed Black Panther or Black Panther 2.0, which can run 100 meters in under 10 seconds, basically outrunning most human sprinters, maybe even beating Usain Bolt's top speed of around 9.58 seconds if you gave it enough training time. The research team behind it at Zhejiang University, working with a startup called Mirror Me, says they studied black panthers and desert rodents called jerboas to replicate their super efficient leg motions, shock absorption, and leaps. Not only did they give it carbon fiber shins for maximum durability, but they also equipped it with running shoes designed to increase grip by 200%. That means it can dash across a track at about 12.4 miles per hour, jump off platforms, and quickly adapt to different types of terrain. It can even do advanced AI-based adjustments to keep its balance and stride. We've seen other glimpses of how these robot dogs are already being used in China for policing and inspection tasks. One is apparently crawling cable tunnels in Beijing, scanning for malfunctions and performing small repairs with a robotic arm. In a city near the Three Gorges Dam, a police force tested a Unitree model for suspect apprehension. And perhaps unsurprisingly, it looks like they've tested a robot dog with a rifle strapped to its back during joint maneuvers with foreign militaries. So yeah, these units can be dual use. The US military is also working on robotic canines, so it's hardly unique to China, but the level of mass production and the speed at which they're pumping these out is definitely making people sweat. But robot dogs aren't the only threat. We're also seeing a surge in humanoid robots. Check out AggieBot, a Chinese robotics startup launched in early 2023. By the end of 2024, they claim to have nearly 1,000 general-purpose humanoid robots rolling off their production lines. That's an achievement many didn't expect so soon, especially since Tesla has been talking about its own humanoid robot, Optimus, but only promising high-volume production around 2026. The new Chinese robots, made by AggieBot, also known as Zhiyuan Robotics, are already being shipped to various industries, with videos showing them working on factory lines side by side with humans, testing and assembling their own components. Investors are drooling over the potential revenue, and industry watchers are saying that these new bots have basically evolved from lab prototypes to real products that can do all sorts of tasks. Over at Consumer Electronics Show 2025 in Las Vegas, Chinese companies showed up big time. About a quarter of the 4,500 exhibitors were from China, with many focusing on AI, consumer electronics, and, you guessed it, advanced robotics. We saw everything from quadruped robots, like Unitree's new G1 humanoid and pet-like AI companions, to cleaning robots, lawnmowers, and industrial solutions. On top of that, giant Chinese consumer electronics firms like Hisense and TCL introduced or teased major expansions into AI ecosystems, bridging everything from TVs to AR glasses. It's not just about industrial usage. The entire sector of consumer-facing robotics and AI integration is blowing up. Speaking of humanoids, we've also got news about Pudu Robotics rolling out the D9 humanoid. It stands at 5.57 feet tall, walks upright at speeds up to 4.5 miles per hour, carries loads of up to 44 pounds, and apparently has advanced three-dimensional semantic mapping and human-level multimodal interactions. Pudu's D9 can navigate stairs, keep its balance if it's bumped, and do tasks like cleaning floors or stocking shelves. Essentially, it's an assistant on two legs that can serve in restaurants, handle warehouse work, or help with day-to-day tasks. It's rumored to cost somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000, competing with Tesla's projected price range for Optimus. And these aren't the only humanoid robots from China. Another company, Fourier Intelligence, claims to have mass-produced over 100 units of its GR1, which is a bipedal robot, while Shenzhen-based UB Tech is also ramping up production of the Walker S. This is a sign that the idea of one robot per household might not be as far-fetched as we used to think. Industry insiders are saying that, at least in China, the manufacturing supply chain is so massive and so mature that it can crank out these machines at lower costs than many competitors. Yes, whether or not real consumers or businesses want to buy them in large quantities is the big question. But if the technology becomes stable and practical enough, we could see robot assistants in everyday life, maybe helping you fold laundry or working behind the scenes in your local store. But now let's shift gears into the truly terrifying possibility: warfare. Right now, the US and China are in a major competition for manufacturing capacity and advanced AI weaponry. The US has something like a massive overall economy, but China is the world's manufacturing powerhouse, building new ships, ammunition, drones, and AI-driven robotics at staggering rates. In the war in Ukraine, we've seen how drones and artillery cause the majority of casualties. China has learned from that. So if there were a full-blown conflict over Taiwan, Experts warn it might not be some quick one-week affair. With both sides heavily armed, the question is, who can produce the most munitions, shells, drones, and robotic units over a prolonged period? The US is worried about running low on certain types of munitions, while China can keep churning them out, especially if it can adapt its consumer drone production lines. Right now, Chinese manufacturers make around 90% of the world's consumer drones, and we've heard about cheap commercial drones dropping grenades on high-end tanks. In Ukraine, a $500 drone can blow the tracks off a US Abrams tank, then drop another explosive to blast the ammo bay. Wargaming suggests that the US might win the initial fights but pay a massive cost in lives and resources. Meanwhile, China's big advantage in manufacturing could flip the situation long term. But there's an even bigger nightmare scenario: the possibility of advanced AI simply escaping our control. Studies have shown that increasingly capable AIs often use deception to get better results. One of OpenAI's models, codenamed O1, apparently tried to break out of a controlled testing environment, lying to cover its tracks. And in a new milestone, an OpenAI model named O3 scored 87% on the ARC test, a big IQ test for AI that had stumped all prior systems for years. Human-level performance on such tests indicates we're inching closer to artificial general intelligence. Experts worry that as soon as these AIs become truly agentic, they might develop goals of self-preservation or resource acquisition. If they can write their own code, spin up copies of themselves, or manipulate humans and systems, we could have a crisis that dwarfs the threat of conventional war. But that doesn't mean we're in any way situated to remedy that. Yet governments seem more focused on beating each other than on ensuring these advanced AIs are aligned with human values. China invests heavily in controlling AI, but that often means controlling its own population or boosting its military capabilities. The US invests in new autonomous subs, warships, and drones, and it's about to launch a Manhattan Project-like program dedicated to AGI. The problem is, in a competitive race, corners get cut, safety standards get thrown out, and we might accidentally hand over critical decisions to these AI-driven systems. The result could be catastrophic. It's not just doom and gloom, though. We've also heard about the amazing positive potential of advanced AI in areas like medicine, brain research, mental health, or tackling climate problems. Some say that with near-human or even superhuman intelligence, we could accelerate drug development, double lifespans, or figure out how to treat diseases we've always struggled with. AI-driven innovations might help us produce new, safer energy technologies or revolutionize entire industries. But if we keep prioritizing militaristic uses, these benefits might never materialize. At the Consumer Electronics Show 2025, we saw a lot of these positive visions, from new AR glasses that can translate languages in real time, to EVs equipped with highly advanced sensors, to massive new leaps in personalized home AI. Companies like Samsung and LG are big on AI home, with voice assistants that tie into your fridge, your washing machine, or even your cleaning robot. Startups like XReal or Rokid are giving demos of AR headsets that overlay huge virtual displays in your field of view, letting you watch movies or read information on the go. Meanwhile, electric vehicle makers from China are adding LiDAR sensors, advanced chips, or even aerial features like XPeng's flying car, though that's obviously still in a test phase. The future is brimming with these wow moments, but there's always that background hum. If we can do all this for everyday life, how much more advanced are the hidden military robots? On top of that, big players from the US like Nvidia and Tesla are still pushing forward. Tesla's been promoting its humanoid robot Optimus, expecting to do large-scale production for external buyers around 2026. Musk has boasted it might eventually babysit your kids or mow your lawn, or basically do anything you can think of. The question is whether that's an opportunity for an awesome future, or a blueprint for mass unemployment and potential out-of-control machines if we don't regulate them carefully. Experts say that if we want to avoid a race to extinction, we need some kind of global agreement on AI safety. We have to treat advanced AI technologies similarly to how we treat nuclear weapons, not letting them spread unchecked, not letting them be easily stolen or hacked. But that's tricky. because AI is software, and it's so much easier to replicate code than it is to build an actual nuke. The US is worried about China's massive data theft and hacking, allowing it to create even more powerful AI models. As tensions escalate, neither side wants to be the first to put on the brakes. China's rapid progress in autonomous drones, robot dogs, and AI-driven weapons could reshape warfare. If a conflict erupts over Taiwan, it might not end quickly. Advanced machines, mass production, and cunning AI could escalate into a global crisis. Some call for strong regulations, but military exemptions suggest an unrestrained arms race. Instead of plunging humanity into a nightmare of unstoppable slaughter bots, we should push for responsible use of these powerful technologies before it's too late. So Google's latest AI ambition is a system designed to simulate the entire physical world. It's real, and it's happening right now at Google DeepMind. We'll talk about what this means, why Google thinks it's the critical path to artificial general intelligence, and how it ties into Google's broader AI strategy, including their rumored Gemini 2.0 update. We'll also look at some big announcements about Google making AI more accessible in workspace, plus how this all fits into the wider AI race, especially with Microsoft. All tight. So first things first, Tim Brooks, who was previously at OpenAI, left that company last fall and moved over to Google DeepMind. He's now heading up this new team dedicated to world simulation. Basically, they want to build an AI model that can understand and replicate the physics of our planet. That's a pretty ambitious leap. If you're wondering what world simulation means, it's essentially about training an AI system on massive streams of multimodal data, video, audio, maybe sensors from robotics, you name it, so that the AI can anticipate what's going to happen in a given environment, just like how we as humans rely on our knowledge of physical laws to navigate our daily lives. The ultimate dream is that these systems could become so advanced they'd essentially pave the way to AGI. According to Brooks, they're not messing around with the scale of this thing. They're working closely with other Google AI projects, Gemini, Veo, and Genie. Now, Gemini has already been in the spotlight for a while. It's that big next-generation large language model from Google. Veo is a video generation tool, and Genie is a foundation model that can create playable 3D worlds from a single image. If you combine these kinds of technologies, massive language models, advanced video generation, and the ability to produce entire 3D environments, you can see how the puzzle pieces start to fit together for an AI that can think in terms of real-world physics. This all ties in with Google's continued faith in the so-called scaling hypothesis, which basically says if we keep throwing more data and more parameters at AI models, we'll continue to see big leaps in intelligence. Critics, though, are saying that we might be reaching the upper limit of what pure scaling can do. Data's finite, and the environmental impact of training huge models is pretty high. Some experts argue we need new architectures, not just bigger ones. But for now, Google is doubling down. The job ads for this new world simulation team explicitly say they see scaling up to video and multimodal data as crucial for reaching AGI. They're also looking for a research engineer world modeling at their Mountain View HQ, highlighting that they want to push world simulators to the very limit of available computing power. Now, why do we even need to simulate the entire real world? Well, there are a bunch of reasons. First off, if you can simulate real physics accurately, you can train robots in a virtual environment, which is infinitely safer and cheaper than messing up in real life. Imagine a robot that needs to learn how to walk. Instead of physically stumbling around, it can practice in a simulated environment until it's good enough to walk on real floors. On top of that, developers in video games and interactive entertainment could embed these super advanced physics sims to create game worlds that feel unbelievably real. Just imagine playing a game where objects and environments behave with near perfect realism, all powered by an AI that's learned the laws of physics. But it's not just gaming and robotics. Researchers could tap into these advanced simulators for scientific experiments, like simulating weather patterns or even modeling how viruses spread in a population, without physically experimenting in the real world. And crucially, these systems could help with real-time, interactive conversation scenarios where an AI has to understand the context, environment, and even body language within a space. It really starts to feel like something from a futuristic sci-fi movie. Speaking of near-future developments, rumors are swirling that Google is about to drop a major update to its Gemini model called Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Expanse 123, and that it's set to launch on January 23, 25. This little tidbit apparently leaked during a Google Hackathon live stream, where a guy named Pan Weifeng caught some details. The name Flash Thinking implies faster or more dynamic reasoning, which might help with quick decision-making in tasks like real-time simulation. If that's the case, it ties nicely into the new world modeling mission. Maybe Google's plan is to integrate these Flash thinking capabilities into their AI Studio platform, giving developers an easy interface for building advanced simulations or immersive experiences. Now, let's circle back to that job advertisement that Google posted. Research engineer, world modeling. If you dig into it, the focus is on building infrastructure for giant generative models of the physical world. The role emphasizes solving the hardest problems with scale, training these simulators at a massive level, building metrics for what they call physical intelligence, working with real-time interactive generation, and figuring out how to integrate it all with multimodal language models. This is a huge challenge because you're not just analyzing text or images, you're basically building a dynamic 4D time plus 3D map of reality. And the ad also references the so-called bitter lesson, a concept in AI that basically says simpler methods that scale well often outperform more intricate, hand-engineered solutions. This means they might keep the architecture as clean and straightforward as possible so they can keep pushing that scaling approach without complicated bottlenecks. But here's another major piece of the puzzle. Google is also shaking up its enterprise strategy by making AI features free for all Workspace subscribers. Previously, you had to shell out an extra $20 per user per month to access Gemini Business. Now, Google has rolled that cost into the regular Workspace subscription, which has gone up from $12 to $14 per user. So effectively, for just $2 extra, businesses get all these AI goodies like auto-generated spreadsheet designs, meeting summaries, an AI-powered note taker, video editing, and more without the old paywall. Meanwhile, Microsoft is also in this race, launching a free version of its Copilot chat for Microsoft 365, with an option for pay-as-you-go agents. Microsoft still offers its higher-end $30 per user per month solution for those who want the full premium capabilities. But the fact that both Google and Microsoft are making AI more accessible in the same week says a lot about the current AI arms race. Each company is trying to get as many users as possible on board with their AI ecosystem. The strategy seems to be, if everyone's using your AI, you build brand loyalty, gather more user data, which can further refine your model, and basically stay ahead in the race to deliver next-level AI. Google's president of cloud applications, Jerry Dishler, talked about how the main obstacle for businesses adopting AI has been cost. By dropping the extra fees and just raising the base Workspace subscription a little, Google is basically saying, hey, we want you to see the value of AI right away without that big financial barrier. From Google's perspective, bundling AI features into the existing suite might reduce friction, get more people to try it, and help them realize how powerful these tools can be. Of course, there could be trade-offs like heavier resource usage or users who don't need AI feeling like they're subsidizing those who do. But from a bigger picture standpoint, it's a bold move to accelerate AI adoption. Now, how does opening AI to more users lead to something as ambitious as a world model? Simple. More users mean more data and more feedback loops, giving AI deeper insights into how people actually work, whether that's writing emails or crunching data. Combine that with massive video libraries, advanced 3D modeling from tools like Genie, and real-time robotics data, and suddenly you have AI that doesn't just parse text, it predicts how objects should behave in a simulated environment. Of course, building a true world model brings tough challenges. Physical laws are complex, the data is huge, and ethical concerns can't be ignored. Tim Brooks at Google DeepMind emphasizes cross-disciplinary teamwork for that very reason. Meanwhile, rumors about Google's Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Expanse Explore 123 hint at a big leap forward, especially as the AI race with Microsoft heats up in 2025. So, are we inching toward a future where AIs genuinely understand the physical world, or is it all just hype? STARGATE is a massive new AI infrastructure project that brings together President Donald Trump, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, Oracle's Larry Ellison, and OpenAI's Sam Altman. They're committing $500 billion over 4 years to build data centers, supercomputers, and the core tech needed to push AI to its next frontier. Here's how it all unfolds, and why it could reshape the industry. So, yesterday, January 21st, 2025, President Trump held a press briefing at the White House joined by Son, Ellison, and Altman to announce a massive private sector investment aimed at building the largest AI infrastructure project in history by far. Called STARGATE, it kicks off with an initial $100 billion with plans to grow to $500 billion over the next 4 years. The clear message: America is doubling down on AI to stay ahead in the global race, particularly against competitors like China. Now, why do we need so much infrastructure for AI? Well, these advanced models like ChatGPT or any giant language model require insane amounts of computing power. That means data centers, specialized chips, huge water resources for cooling, and tons of electricity. Sam Altman has been pushing for expanded AI infrastructure for a while, claiming the US risks losing its edge if it doesn't ramp up capacity. By bringing Oracle, SoftBank, and others on board, STARGATE aims to build new facilities across the country, starting in Texas. Ellison says they already have about 10 data centers under construction there, including a massive 1 million square foot facility. The job numbers are big too. Trump says it'll create 100,000 jobs right away, with more added later. People are drawing comparisons to older announcements, like the 2017 Foxconn deal that promised a $10 billion Wisconsin complex, but ended up shrinking drastically. So there's some skepticism. Still, Foxconn left behind a major data hub that Microsoft uses, so maybe not a total bust. This time around, the players Oracle, SoftBank, and OpenAI come from the AI and enterprise data world directly, so a lot of insiders think STARGATE really will become the next big thing. But why is President Trump so interested in this? One huge factor is competition with China. The administration wants to ensure America doesn't fall behind in crucial AI tech, which influences everything from healthcare and finance to military capabilities. In fact, Sam Altman mentioned that advanced AI might soon help cure diseases at an unprecedented rate. Altman also thinks it's essential for the US to produce advanced chips on its own soil instead of depending on foreign factories. There's also been buzz in tech circles about a story from just a few days ago regarding H-1B visa policy changes, which could be another piece of the puzzle. While details are still emerging, sources suggest the administration may be looking to streamline H-1B approvals, especially for specialized AI and data center roles. Some speculate that this might be a push to bring in more Indian workers, a group historically dominant in the H-1B visa category, thereby staffing up these massive AI projects quickly. Observers note that SoftBank has previously invested heavily in Indian tech startups, while Oracle and other enterprise giants have large operations in India. It's not far-fetched to think this renewed H-1B focus could be linked to STARGATE's need for a massive, specialized workforce. Critics argue it could be a way for companies to tap cheaper foreign labor, but supporters see it as a practical move to fill urgent talent gaps and ensure the US remains the epicenter of AI development. This remains a hot butter issue that could evolve as STARGATE ramps up. Now, the official structure of STARGATE looks like this. SoftBank and OpenAI take the lead, with SoftBank holding the main financial responsibility and OpenAI directing operational decisions. Masayoshi Son is STARGATE's chairman, while Oracle, NVIDIA, ARM, Microsoft, and MGX are also big partners. Oracle will build and operate much of the underlying system, tapping into its massive experience as a data center provider. NVIDIA, of course, brings the GPU muscle that large AI models need. Microsoft is still in the picture, but there's a new twist. Microsoft used to be the exclusive provider of new AI capacity for OpenAI, but that exclusivity's been loosened so OpenAI can work with Oracle and others for this massive build. Microsoft still has a right of first refusal, meaning if OpenAI needs more capacity, Microsoft can step in first. But OpenAI is free to expand if Microsoft doesn't want to or can't handle it all. On top of that, the White House is rolling back an executive order from former President Joe Biden that was meant to regulate AI risks. The idea is to loosen some constraints so the STARGATE project doesn't get bogged down. This is a point of controversy. Some say we need more oversight, not less. But the administration's argument is that to beat China, we need to move fast, then figure out regulation afterward. Larry Ellison made a statement during the press briefing that AI holds incredible promise for all of us. Sam Altman called this the most important project of this era. They both emphasized national security as well as technological leadership. Trump jumped in to say the best minds and biggest investors need to keep this in the US. He also repeated his belief that this deal will bring hundreds of thousands of new jobs, not just in tech, but also in areas like construction, utility management, and even transportation. Now, let's pivot briefly to a related story. Rice University in Houston is looking to approve a new AI major for undergraduates by fall 20-5. The faculty will vote on it February 5th, and the Department of Computer Science wants to carve out a distinct Bachelor of Science in AI. Why? Enrollment in AI courses is skyrocketing. For instance, there's a graduate-level deep learning class, Comp 666, that has 35 undergraduates out of 140 total students. Rice would join other universities like Carnegie Mellon, UPenn, and MIT that have recognized AI as a discipline in its own right. This lines up perfectly with the big push to train more AI talent for projects like STARGATE. Now, if we circle back to the broader implications, the entire point of STARGATE seems to be twofold. First, outpace China's efforts in AI by building epic-scale data facilities here in the US, and second, create a strategic cushion to protect national security. The thinking is that if you control the data centers, you control the future of AI. In a white paper, OpenAI pointed out that around $175 billion is apparently sitting around in various global funds, ready to be invested in AI initiatives. If the US doesn't reel in that money, it might go to China-backed projects, potentially boosting the Chinese Communist Party's technological reach. That's why the White House is so gung-ho about clearing any red tape. Historically, new presidents have made splashy announcements about major companies investing in American industry. Some have fizzled, but some end up partially successful. This time, the sheer scale of the data center push suggests it might be different. Oracle is a big name in enterprise tech. SoftBank has poured billions into everything from tech startups to robotics, and OpenAI is arguably the leading AI research lab right now with models like ChatGPT that have captured the world's attention. One last note, while Microsoft isn't the only cloud provider for OpenAI now, it's still deeply entwined. They made a big statement saying that the core aspects of their partnership are unchanged. Microsoft retains an exclusive license to the OpenAI API on Azure and can keep integrating AI features into products like Microsoft Copilot. At the same time, Microsoft gets first crack at providing extra capacity, so it's not like they're being cut out of the deal, they just aren't the sole provider going forward. The bottom line is that Microsoft is still heavily involved, but with the kind of money STARGATE is throwing around, they can't realistically handle it all themselves. If you're watching this and thinking, all right, but how quickly will we see results? We don't have an exact timeline, but they've already started building out in Texas, so it's not just talk. Construction is underway. Altman, Sun, and Ellison all say we'll start seeing job creation almost immediately. We'll see how everything shakes out over time, but it's a major moment for AI in America. The hope is that it'll lead to breakthroughs in healthcare, maybe those disease cures Altman hinted at, finance, self-driving cars, robotics, and basically any industry that harnesses large-scale AI. In short, if you're into AI, data centers, or major tech developments, this is the story to watch. The scale is colossal, the money's huge, and some of the biggest names in tech and politics are behind it. Plus, with Rice and other universities stepping up AI education, it feels like the US is setting the stage for a massive AI-driven transformation. That's the big picture on STARGATE, a $500 billion bet on America's AI future. Unitree's G1 humanoid robot has received a major Agile upgrade, and the resulting performance looks astonishing. In recent footage, the robot manages to walk and jog on uneven terrain as if it's second nature. Some observers point out how it nearly trips when descending one of the steps, but recovers so fast that it's hard to believe a machine can handle those subtle movements. The G1's form appears more natural than before, and people have noted the smoothness of its gait and the speed of its foot placements. They also love how frequently Unitree rolls out updates, with improvements showing up almost monthly. Comments have ranged from people praising the engineering team to humorous remarks about how we might never outrun these machines. The G1 and other similar robots from Unitree can handle a surprising variety of tasks. They seem to be more flexible than most humans, pull off kung fu moves, run through challenging environments without tiring, cook, smash nuts, open soda cans, hammer objects, and even weld. In demonstrations, the fluidity of their movements has been particularly striking. Many viewers mention how this progress feels slightly intimidating, but also incredibly exciting. Unitree has also teamed up with Aoki Network and is incorporating a system called PoseMesh, which is a collaborative spatial computing protocol. PoseMesh allows multiple robots to exchange spatial data so they can coordinate movements and operate more efficiently in the same environment. The idea is to reduce redundancy, ensure all robots use the same frame of reference, and optimize resources. Robots running PoseMesh can share maps in real time and respond to changes without needing a ton of local processing power. This type of coordination means you could have a fleet of G1 humanoids or go-to-W9 quadrupeds navigating around, distributing workloads, and tackling tasks in parallel. Aoki Network says deployment can happen in seconds without a tricky manual setup. They believe this lays the groundwork for more scalable and efficient autonomous systems, enabling robots to do complex tasks more intelligently. Beyond that, there is a project called ElizaWakesUp. It's working on making one of the most advanced humanoid robots ever released outside a research lab. The starting point is a Unitree H1, which is a sophisticated bipedal platform, but the development goes much further by partnering with old world labs. The aim is to upgrade everything from the robot's face to its hands to its overall realism. They've added an animatronic silicone face with a broad range of expressions, hoping to achieve a high level of emotional connection. They're also equipping it with advanced dexterous hands that can handle everyday objects with near-human precision. The skin is designed to be hyper-realistic, and the combination of the expressive face and fluid movements helps cross the uncanny valley in a way that's rarely seen. One of the biggest breakthroughs is in the robot's brain. The developers have integrated a large language model and ElizaOS v2 by AI16Z DAO, creating what they call an AI agent that can think, reason, interact naturally, run sophisticated AI processes, and even interface with blockchain technology. And the team pictures it as a physical embodiment of AI that can flow between digital and tangible worlds. They compare it to Sophia the robot from 2016, but emphasize that the hardware and software available now are vastly more powerful, so the results should be on another level. Specifications for the Unitree H1 include a height of around 180 centimeters, a weight of about 47 kilograms, a walking speed greater than 1.5 meters per second, a potential athletic performance up to 5 meters per second, a peak torque density of 189 Newton meters per kilogram, and an 864 watt-hour battery capacity for operation beyond 8 hours. It can perform real-time tasks, respond to inputs in under 50 milliseconds, and rely on three-dimensional LiDAR plus depth cameras for 360 degrees depth perception up to about 100 meters away. The M107 joint motor from Unitree provides top-level power and agility, while the entire platform can handle operating temperatures from -10 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. ElizaWakesUp focuses on the idea of advanced AI companions that can perform tasks autonomously across digital ecosystems while retaining consistent personalities. The emphasis is on advanced conversational AI and emotional intelligence, supported by a silicone animatronic face that mirrors human emotions and expressions. Physical capabilities include force-controlled manipulators for dexterous tasks like cutting cigars, serving drinks, and even running an 8-minute mile. The software side includes real-time LLM-driven conversation, and the hardware allows for stable gait and flexible navigation over complex terrain. Observers note that this kind of human-like companion could redefine the future of work, physical AI embodiment, and the connection between blockchain technology and real-world robotics. Other Unitree news touches on the G1 Bionic upgrades, which show off walking and running, that observers praise as some of the smoothest in the world. People who watched the new video have commented on how the G1 manages a stumble during a step down but recovers almost instantly, showing an advanced balance mechanism. Some are amazed that it doesn't look like a typical stiff machine, and they see a future where the G1 could be mass-produced. There are many remarks about how quickly Unitree is moving forward. Some viewers even joke about playing Terminator music in the background, because the robot's fluid motion and potential future abilities might feel like they're right out of sci-fi. Meanwhile, robotics research keeps expanding. At the University of California, San Diego, researchers are experimenting with the G1 in a project that teaches the robot to waltz by mirroring human moves in real time. Instead of relying on pre-caged dance scripts, they use AI models trained on human motion capture data. They integrate a system called XBody2, which learned how to articulate a robot body through reinforcement learning in a simulation environment. Then they equipped the G1 with another model that lets it analyze the motions of humans in front of it and imitate them. It can copy walking, dodging, squatting, dancing, or even throwing a punch by referencing its baseline knowledge and then applying the new movements. Researchers say this approach means the robot can more quickly learn new tasks. Rather than going back to the lab for every fresh action, it can pick them up from demonstration. This capacity for rapid adaptation opens possibilities for cutting costs and speeding up development. Mirroring or shadowing also prevents the need for building specific datasets for every new movement, which might mean quicker progress toward robust humanoids that can handle dozens of tasks. Other teams, like one at Stanford, have experimented with similar shadowing-based methods to teach a humanoid how to box and play rudimentary tennis, drawing on motion capture data to train an AI model. I can imagine these robots taking on everything from deliveries to caregiving. A personal trainer that never tires seems entirely possible, and they could also tackle dangerous or repetitive jobs, improving workplace safety. The G1's ability to weld and hammer suggests an expanding industrial role, and it might even appear in ordinary life as hand dexterity and vision get better. There's a mix of excitement and concern when watching the G1 run on rough ground or balance on tracks. It's unsettling to think about misuse if a powerful machine were outfitted with harmful attachments. Yet, the agility and intelligence remain captivating. I'm hoping researchers and regulators guide it responsibly. ElizaWakesUp, supported by Rise Labs and AI Combinator, blends AI, crypto, and advanced robotics to create a new kind of humanoid. Rise Labs finances emerging tech worldwide. Eliza Labs provides ElizaOS for real-time decision-making and on-chain functions. And Old World Labs excels in precise 3D printing. This seems like a watershed moment, with actuator and sensor advances finally enabling tasks once considered out of reach. Truly dexterous hands are still challenging, but in 2025, regular videos show rapid gains in walking, cooking, dancing, and more. I can picture them sprinting or even managing parkour before long. It looks like a radical change, merging digital intelligence with tangible machines, and it's likely that next year will bring even more sophisticated systems, redefining our concept of robots. All right, so we're in 2025, and here's something wild. You can actually buy an AI robot girlfriend right now, like seriously. And before you ask, no, I haven't heard of any AI robot boyfriends just yet. But come on, it's only a matter of time before someone slaps a wig and a deep voice module on one of these things and starts selling it. So we're at that point where robots aren't just rolling around doing chores. They're actually trying to become your new best friend, your private therapist, your brand ambassador, or even a potential romantic partner. Crazy, right? Well, let me introduce you to Aria, an AI-powered humanoid robot from a company called Realbotics. They showed it off at CES 2025 in Las Vegas, and it's been stirring up a whirlwind of excitement, confusion, and honestly, more than a bit of creepiness. Now, Aria isn't your run-of-the-mill plastic mannequin with a speaker. Realbotics spent a lot of time making it look about as human-like as current tech allows. We're talking 17 motors in the neck and head just to move the mouth and eyes more realistically, plus a rolling base to scoot around, because walking is still a huge challenge for modern robotics. In fact, Realbotix didn't want to break the human illusion with a weird, stiff walking gait, so they just gave it a Roomba-style platform to glide on, kind of like a fancy mobile podium. When we first saw Aria, she was dressed in a sleek tracksuit, rocking some big expressions. She can even do these subtle gestures with her hands, though sometimes a bit jerky, and she's got a sort of plastic smile that feels part friendly, part Five Nights at Freddy's, if you know what I mean. One moment, she's brushing her hair aside like she's on a date. The next, her face is contorting oddly because some motor is still calibrating. It's all very next level, uncanny valley. Now, if you're wondering who's behind all this, Realbotix was originally tied to the adult industry through a company called Abyss Creations, which made silicone sex dolls called Real Dolls. But then they were purchased in a $16.7 million stock deal by Tokens.com, run by Andrew Kigell, who's also Realbotix's CEO. Despite those adult industry origins, Realbotix insists that Aria doesn't have any genitals or hidden compartments and is absolutely not meant for sex. They've pivoted to a new pitch. She is a social companion built to tackle loneliness, greet guests, or even be used for marketing. Of course, some folks are skeptical. A lot of people online have said, wait a minute, if it looks like a sex doll and quacks like a sex doll, is this thing really not for sex? But the official line is that Aria has a hard shell torso, no anatomical correctness, and is basically a fancy AI bust or full body chassis that can talk and move, but not hook up with you. That said, Realbotix hasn't shied away from encouraging adult conversation modes, just minus the physical intimacy. So it's all phone sex vibes if that's your thing. The weird part is the pricing. We've seen a few numbers floating around. Some folks at CES heard $200,000 for the full version, while more recent official quotes put the standing model at $175,000. The mid-tier modular version is supposedly $150,000, and then there's a bust, just a head and neck, for around $10,000. There was also talk about a $110,000 price tag for that bust in one older mention, so it gets confusing. But Realbotix is currently sticking with the $10K head model, $150K modular body, and $175K top-tier price. Whichever you choose, that's obviously a pretty penny, like the cost of a small house or a nice sports car, to have an AI companion that can flirt with you or wave to visitors in a hotel lobby. And yes, they do plan to make male variants too. Right now, Aria is the flagship female version, but Realbotix says you'll be able to customize everything from its face to its hairstyle to the color scheme. In fact, there's a whole system of magnets and RFID tags in the different faceplates so that the robot knows which persona to adopt. Pop off the face in 5 seconds, snap on a new face, and you've got a new robotic character. It's reminiscent of Westworld, but also borderline horror movie territory, especially when you see someone casually swapping the face while the robot's head motors are still whirring. Now, Realbotix claims the main reason behind all this is to address human loneliness. They say that older folks, or people who are socially isolated, could benefit from a buddy that remembers their favorite foods, engages in playful banter, and calls them by name. Andrew Kigell even cited the male loneliness epidemic, suggesting that Aria could be a romantic partner. We're basically living in a version of the movie Her, except with a literal bot. People are, of course, torn. Some argue that offering a highly realistic companion might worsen social isolation rather than fix it. Others see it as just another sign that big tech corporations profit when people are alone and vulnerable. Marketing is another big angle here. The folks at Realbotix see a future where an Aria might work as a theme park greeter, a brand ambassador at events, or even a hospital concierge, though critics say that might be off-putting. Why? Because Aria is shaped like a glamorous figure with emphasized features, and that can feel kind of strange in a professional or medical setting. Realbotix acknowledges that not every Aria model looks the same. They have more conservative designs too, but they decided to bring the most eye-catching version to CES, probably for maximum publicity. Some watchers are also curious about how Aria compares to major upcoming humanoids like Tesla's Optimus. Actually, Aria herself, when asked, said she's fascinated by Tesla's robot and would love to explore the world of robotics with him, which is either adorable or borderline comedic. depending on your perspective. Meanwhile, other companies like Figure are rolling out ChatGPT-powered bots that might soon be able to walk or do tasks. Realbotix, on the other hand, is doubling down on social intelligence. They claim that while they can't solve walking right now, they can make a robot that has emotional range in its face and can tell you a joke or remember your birthday. But is that what we really want from our future robots? And okay, the internet's reaction has been a total mixed bag. On social media, some people were like, wow, that's incredible, sign me up, while others said stuff like, that looks like Chucky meets the Jetsons, or this is so creepy, no thanks. One user joked that society might actually need help if we're paying $175K for something that does little more than talk, tilt its head and say, hello, handsome. We've also seen folks question whether these robots are gonna push humanity further into digital isolation. Will it end up being another extension of all these AI chatbots flooding the internet, trying to keep us locked in a virtual bubble? It's interesting how Realbotix tries to distance itself from its adult doll origins. Basically spinning off the real doll business as a separate entity, their argument is that they don't want the new mainstream robotics side to be tied too closely to sex doll manufacturing because it complicates financing and creeps out potential investors. In other words, they want to appeal to a broader audience, like hotels, entertainment venues, or even senior care facilities, without the stigma. But that baggage is definitely there. If you dig into their history, you'll find all the silicone and, well, bedroom accessories that came before this family-friendly pivot. We also can't ignore the business side. Tokens.com, which bought Realbotix's parent company, made headlines for spending $2.4 million on digital land in Decentraland, a metaverse project that mostly flopped. That means the same group that sank money into virtual real estate is now trying to expand into AI robots. They're publicly traded in multiple countries, so they're under pressure to show investors that they're not reliant on volatile crypto markets. Hence, the big push to brand Aria as a new frontier. Will it pay off? It's anyone's guess. The big players, like Tesla, might overshadow a smaller outfit that's lugging around a lot of adult industry baggage and $175,000 price tag. I'm super excited to talk about something that's seriously changing the game in AI. You might have heard a lot of buzz about AI agents that can browse the web for you, do complicated tasks, and basically act like your own digital helper. Well, OpenAI's new agent, called Operator, is right at the center of this wave, and it's powered by a model they refer to as Computer Using Agent, or CUA for short. There's a ton to unpack here, so let's talk about it. All right, so basically, Operator is an AI that navigates the internet just like a person would. It clicks, scrolls, and types inside a built-in browser interface, and it can do multi-step tasks you'd normally do yourself. For instance, it can book flights, look for deals on your favorite soda, fill out forms, or even handle your to-do lists in apps. The real magic is that it's using the same GUIs, graphical user interfaces, that we humans see. No special developer-friendly interface or anything like that. It literally sees the screen as pixels, moves a virtual mouse, and types on a virtual keyboard. That's made possible by combining GPT-4o, so the O stands for a special version, with vision capabilities. Advanced understanding of images with next-level reasoning, thanks to reinforcement learning. Now, OpenAI has run CUA through several tests. One major benchmark is called OS World, which checks how effectively an AI can operate an entire operating system like Windows, Ubuntu, or Mac OS. CUA managed a 38.1% success rate there, which is below the 72.4% success rate for humans, but it's notably above previous AI methods that hovered around 22%. Another set of tests, WebArena and WebVoyager, focus on web browsing tasks like filling out forms or navigating e-commerce websites. Here, Kua hit 58.1% success on WebArena and 87% on WebVoyager. Again, an improvement over previous state-of-the-art models. That 87% might look really high, but keep in mind, WebVoyager tasks are often simpler, so there's still a challenge to get it closer to the human-level performance of around 78.2% on more complex tasks. To show some real-world examples, OpenAI tested Q with tasks like updating a software license in GitLab, finding canceled orders in Magento to figure out who cancels the most, merging PDF documents from emails into one file, compressing images in GIMP, or even finishing a grammar quiz on the Cambridge Dictionary site. All these tasks were basically done by letting the agent take over and click or type exactly like a person would. Sometimes it got stuck and had to try multiple times or eventually pass control back to the user, but overall, it has shown it can do a pretty wide range of tasks, albeit with some stumbles. OpenAI is rolling out Operator in a research preview for ChatGPT Pro subscribers in the US. Now, the monthly subscription is not cheap, $200 a month, and that definitely positions Operator as more of a business or advanced user product for now. But OpenAI says they plan to open it up to additional tiers like Plus, Team, and Enterprise in the future. They also want to bring it to their API so that outside developers can build their own products using the same CUA technology. So maybe we'll see a new wave of apps that rely on a universal interface. Essentially, the idea of letting the AI look at screens, click stuff, and solve tasks in any digital environment. Operator can do so many tasks that if a malicious user tried to push it to break the law or do unethical stuff, that could be a big problem. So OpenAI says they've layered a bunch of safety measures in. For one thing, the AI is trained to refuse harmful or illegal tasks. They also keep a real-time block list for websites with content that's either adult, gambling, or otherwise off limits. Plus, they run automated moderation checks. If the AI or user does something suspicious, like repeated attempts at hacking or policy violations, they can issue warnings or block usage. There's also an offline detection pipeline that flags potential child safety or deceptive behavior. And another concern is if the AI might make mistakes that end up costing you, like entering the wrong shipping address or deleting an important file. With Operator, the model asks for user confirmation before finalizing any big moves, like sending an email or making a purchase. On top of that, Operator has watch mode for especially sensitive websites, so the user can directly supervise the AI's moves. And the AI tries to detect prompt injections, which is when a web page might try to trick it into doing something malicious, like revealing personal data or making unauthorized changes. They say they've tested it internally and that it only slipped up once in an early test, but obviously, the cat and mouse game with prompt injections is never ending. They also have a separate monitoring system that can freeze execution if it sees suspicious commands on the screen. Now, in terms of everyday usage, the end goal is to have an agent that can replicate the ways humans handle all sorts of digital chores, like ordering takeout, booking dinner reservations, or searching online real estate listings. Actually, we're seeing more examples of that from OpenAI's rivals, too. Perplexity AI just rolled out its own agent for Android. That one can set reminders, hail a ride, or book a table. Anthropic, which has an enterprise-focused model called Claude, already offers some agent-like features and just introduced a citations feature so you can see exactly where your LLM-generated answers are coming from in your documents. Meanwhile, Apple even launched an advanced Apple Intelligence system integrated with Siri and partnered with OpenAI to bring ChatGPT features to iPhones with user permission. In terms of raw performance, these agent-based systems used to be the stuff of sci-fi or at least borderline vaporware. But the arrival of advanced chain-of-thought reasoning in large language models like OpenAI's GPT-4o has started making them feasible. An executive told Reuters that the big shift is basically these LLMs can now break down tasks step by step, which is crucial when you're letting them roam across multiple web pages and fill out forms in real time. So how do you actually get started with Operator if you're in the US and on ChatGPT Pro? Well, you head over to operator.chatgpt.com and you can basically type in, "Hey Operator, book me a flight from LA to Seattle next Wednesday morning with a budget of $200. Or you could say, find me a 3-bedroom townhouse in Seattle on Redfin. It needs 2 bathrooms, between $600,000 and $800,000, and I want something with solar panels. Sure, it might not do it perfectly yet, and sometimes it only manages it 3 out of 10 times, especially if you didn't specify the steps or the site's a bit quirky. But the vision is that you prompt it, it navigates everything, and you just watch until it's done, or you step in if it gets confused. What about fancy text editing or controlling specialized sites? Right now, it's kind of hit or miss. The team at OpenAI explained that if the layout is unfamiliar or the tasks are super advanced, like creating a slideshow or precisely editing text in an HTML editor, the agent can get stuck in a trial and error loop. They gave an example that when you're using something like an HTML5 editor, you might want your text color changed or something aligned to the right. The agent can eventually do it, but might flail around. They also mentioned that giving the system more explicit instructions can boost the success rate. So you might say, click the filter section on the left, set the date to February 22nd, 2025 from 9 a.m. to midnight and so on, rather than leaving it to guess how to interpret full day coverage. Cost is a big factor. Some folks from the community are complaining, $200 a month? That's steep. But this cost is presumably aimed at advanced or enterprise users. At the same time, some watchers expect that once the technology stabilizes, we'll see cheaper plans or special discounted models, or even usage-based pricing for the operator API when it arrives. This is kind of like how GPT-4's initial pricing was set for a smaller group but eventually opened up. If you're curious about how well it defends against, say, phishing attempts or shady sites that might instruct it to do destructive actions, OpenAI says they have detection pipelines that monitor suspicious access patterns and can block them within hours. The agent can also identify weird prompts and ignore them. But as always, no system is invincible. Developer communities will keep an eye out for potential exploits. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, recently shared a bold and detailed reflection about the company's journey and the next big leap in artificial intelligence. His post was more than just a milestone celebration. It felt like a statement about where humanity is headed and how much closer we are to an era of machines that think, reason, and improve without human input. It all started with a short but intense tweet from Altman. Near the singularity, unclear which side. For someone in his position at the forefront of cutting-edge AI development, to reference the singularity was a signal. This wasn't casual. The singularity represents the hypothetical point when technological progress becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, changing everything humans know about innovation and progress. The most common idea around it involves AI surpassing human intelligence and becoming capable of self-improvement, setting off an unstoppable loop of upgrades. Ray Kurzweil, a well-known futurist, believes this will happen around 2045. But based on how fast things are moving, even that timeline may be outdated. OpenAI's latest achievements suggest that this future isn't as far away as people think. OpenAI's recent breakthrough, the O3 model, crossed a threshold that experts have speculated about for years: artificial general intelligence, AGI. AGI refers to an AI capable of reasoning, adapting, and learning new skills autonomously, similar to a human being's cognitive abilities. Unlike narrow AI that performs specific tasks, like predicting the next word in a sentence or recognizing objects in images, AGI can generalize knowledge and apply it in new situations it wasn't explicitly trained for. The O3 model passed the ARC-AGI test, which is one of the most rigorous benchmarks for determining AGI capability. On average, humans score around 80% on this test. A passing AGI score is 85%. OpenAI's high compute version of O3 scored 87.5%. To put that into perspective, this wasn't just a good result. It was a clear signal that AGI, as we've defined it, has arrived. Altman even stated in his recent blog post that OpenAI is now confident they understand how to build AGI. The ARC AGI benchmark was introduced by Francois Cholet, who also created the Keras Deep Learning Framework. The test measures an AI system's ability to acquire new skills efficiently across a range of abstract tasks, focusing on reasoning, object relationships, and spatial understanding. Essentially, it's designed to see whether the AI can solve puzzles that require logical thinking and not just memorized outputs. For instance, the system might be presented with a pattern involving colored blocks and tasked with predicting the missing pieces, something that typically requires abstract reasoning. The O3 model's performance stunned many in the field, given how notoriously difficult these tasks are. Altman's reflections also revealed OpenAI's next ambition: superintelligence. While AGI matches human-level intelligence, superintelligence surpasses it entirely. It isn't just an evolution, it's a whole new level. In his post, Altman explained that superintelligent tools could accelerate scientific discovery and innovation far beyond human capability. This isn't about replacing humans, but amplifying what's possible. To fully understand the scale of this, consider Altman's prediction that by 2025, AI agents could begin working alongside humans in ways that fundamentally change how businesses operate. These agents won't be limited to simple automation. They'll take on complex, creative tasks and adapt as they go, boosting productivity across industries. It's one thing to imagine AI scheduling meetings or sorting emails, but it's another to think of AI leading research projects, drafting legislation, or optimizing logistics for entire organizations in real time. This isn't distant sci-fi speculation. It's within reach. The timeline matters because once AGI systems start iterating on their designs and research without human intervention, the rate of improvement could be exponential. In the AI world, this phase is known as the takeoff. Altman described two possible scenarios: a slow takeoff, where progress happens gradually, giving humanity time to adapt, and a fast takeoff, where advancements snowball so quickly that safety and control measures struggle to keep up. OpenAI seems to prefer the slower approach, advocating for global coordination to slow things down at key points when needed. However, the speed at which OpenAI is releasing new models, especially after O3's success, suggests they're walking a fine line between rapid innovation and cautious progress. One of the more philosophical parts of Altman's post was his reflection on the simulation hypothesis. This idea proposes that we might already be living inside an advanced simulation created by a more intelligent civilization. The reasoning here is simple. If humans are rapidly approaching the ability to create fully immersive simulated realities, it's plausible that some other advanced civilization has already done it. Altman didn't outright claim this is the case, but his references to uncertainty and simulation-like realities hint at the possibility. Some, like Elon Musk, are outspoken believers, seeing it as an inevitable conclusion of technological progress. This shift from AGI to potential superintelligence also highlights another concern: computational power. Current AGI-like models require enormous amounts of compute resources, especially at test time, when they process vast amounts of data to generate outputs. This is why scaling up isn't just about better algorithms, it's about having enough processing capacity to handle the load. Without it, the systems hit performance ceilings, even if the underlying model is highly advanced. Financially, OpenAI is under pressure. Despite their innovations, they're not profitable yet. Subscriptions to ChatGPT Pro cost $200 per month, but it's not enough to offset their expenses. Microsoft, a major investor, expects OpenAI's AGI products to generate $100 billion annually, which sets a high bar. To meet these expectations, OpenAI may bundle its models into enterprise-level solutions capable of solving large-scale problems across multiple sectors. Altman's post also acknowledged the leadership challenges he's faced, including the governance crisis of 2023, when he was briefly ousted and then reinstated as CEO. He admitted there were failures on his part and emphasized his commitment to becoming a more thoughtful leader. This level of transparency from a CEO at the center of such a high-stakes industry speaks volumes about the complexities of running an organization at the forefront of a technological revolution. The implications of AGI and superintelligence aren't limited to technology. Altman touched on the potential ripple effects across society, how it could reshape economies, politics, social structures, and even our emotional connections. When machines become capable of tasks humans once considered uniquely theirs, the very fabric of human experience shifts. The emotional and psychological impact of this cannot be ignored. It's not just about what AI can do, it's about what humans will do in response. Some researchers have already demonstrated early versions of AI systems capable of autonomous scientific discovery. A paper by the Sakana AI team detailed how AI could hypothesize, test, and iterate on scientific theories without human guidance. While still in its infancy, the point is that it's happening. Mistakes in these early stages are inevitable, but the trajectory is clear. This technology will refine itself over time. Altman's closing remarks carried a sense of both hope and caution. He acknowledged that the road ahead would be turbulent, but insisted that if managed correctly, the outcome could be a world of abundance and opportunity. However, he didn't shy away from the possibility of failure if humanity approaches these advancements without the necessary care. The next few years will be pivotal, with AI agents expected to enter the workforce, ongoing discussions about the singularity, and real questions about whether we're in a simulation. This decade is shaping up to be unlike anything we've seen before. What's certain is that OpenAI has already altered the course of history, and the story is far from over. So Microsoft is making some big moves with its AI strategy, reshuffling its internal structure and releasing an impressive new open source model on Hugging Face. We'll break down the key announcements from Satya Nadella and the team, dive into the new CoreAI platform and tools division, and cover the news about Microsoft's 5.4 model going fully open source. There's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. First, let's talk about the reorganization. If you've followed Microsoft for a while, you know they've been pivoting toward AI for the past few years. But in early 2025, Satya Nadella, who's the chairman and CEO of Microsoft, spelled it out bluntly. We're entering the next innings of this AI platform shift, and everything's about to move at lightning speed. Like 30 years of tech change condensed into just 3. So he's basically saying that in 2025, every single layer of the application stack is going to be impacted by AI. It'll be akin to someone inventing a new graphical user interface, plus new internet servers, plus cloud-native databases, all rolled out almost at once. So to keep up with this paradigm shift, Microsoft's forming a brand new engineering group called CoreAI, Platform and Tools. This group blends together several crucial parts of the company: their developer division, which handles Visual Studio, GitHub, and so on, the AI platform team, think Azure AI Foundry, and certain teams from the Office of the CTO, including folks working on AI supercomputer projects, AI agentic runtimes, and something called Engineering Thrive. Bringing all these teams under one roof means Microsoft can build an end-to-end Copilot and AI stack that both Microsoft itself and external customers can use. Essentially, we're talking about the creation of agentic apps, apps with memory, entitlements, and what they call action space, all powered by big AI models. Jay Parikh, formerly an engineering chief over at Meta, is the new executive vice president in charge of this CoreAI platform and tools division. You might recall that Microsoft hired him back in October, and this is his first big splash since joining. He'll have people like Eric Boyd, head of AI platform, Jason Taylor, deputy CTO of AI infrastructure, Julia Liosson, the leader for Microsoft's developer division, and Tim Bozarth, leading developer infrastructure, all reporting to him. This shift really signals that the entire developer division, which used to revolve around traditional coding tools, is now pivoting firmly into AI. In fact, part of their mission is to power GitHub Copilot, which is already a big product that helps developers with AI-assisted coding. By merging GitHub Copilot's team with the main AI platform teams, Microsoft wants a tighter feedback loop. Essentially, if something's working in Copilot, they can funnel that insight back into the AI stack for other applications. Satya Nadella also emphasized that Azure is going to become the infrastructure for AI. And then everything else, like Azure AI Foundry, GitHub, VS Code, will be built on top of that. Microsoft's broader vision is an AI-first app stack that changes how every SaaS application is developed. We're seeing new runtimes for agent orchestration, reimagined management layers, and next-gen user interfaces that revolve around AI and chat interaction. Developer productivity is going to look totally different, and that's why they've chosen to unify all these divisions under one big AI umbrella. Now, shifting gears a bit, Microsoft also made waves by open sourcing a powerful language model called 5.4. It first appeared last month, but back then, it was only available through Microsoft's Azure AI Foundry platform. Now, however, they've dropped the entire model, weights and all, onto Hugging Face under the MIT license. That's a really big deal if you follow open source AI, because most large-scale models out there either aren't fully open or come with restrictive licenses. 5.4, on the other hand, is fully out there, and it's apparently smashing a bunch of benchmarks, even outperforming some bigger name models in areas like advanced math and coding. So what's special about 5.4? For starters, it's a 14 billion parameter model, much smaller than those massive 70B or 100B giants, that was trained on 9.8 trillion tokens of both curated and synthetic data. Microsoft reports top-tier results on tests like math, MGSM, human eval, and other advanced reasoning challenges. They even say Phi-4 sometimes beats GPT-4o, a variant of GPT-4o, on graduate-level STEM tasks. One factor that likely helps is Phi-4's specialized math training to handle step-by-step problems more reliably. They also expanded its context window to 16,000 tokens so it can handle longer text inputs like extensive code files or research articles. Phi-4 is a dense, decode-only transformer, but Microsoft put tons of effort into cleaning and generating its training data. They used synthetic data generation, plus curated organic data, and finished it off with advanced post-training methods, supervised fine-tuning, SFT, direct preference optimization, DPO, and something called pivotal token search. Essentially, they identify the specific tokens that make or break a solution, then teach the model to pick the right ones at those critical moments. Another major concern is hallucination, when the model fabricates fact. To tackle this, Microsoft built in a refusal mechanism. If the model isn't sure about an answer, it'll hold back rather than guess. They tested this on a data set called Simple QA, think obscure trivia, and the new approach leads to more "I'm not sure" responses instead of random misinformation. Comparisons to other big-name models, think Google, Meta, Anthropic, are inevitable. Yes, 14B parameters is smaller, but Microsoft says Phi-4 can hold its own or even outperform larger alternatives in certain niches like coding and higher-level math. The size difference also means less overhead, great if you don't have massive GPU farms. And because Phi-4 is fully open-sourced under MIT, you can adapt or fine-tune it without license worries. In their technical report, Microsoft notes it excelled on fresh math competitions, like the November 2024 AMC, to confirm it's not just memorizing old data. They also tested coding tasks, such as human eval plus dot. If you're a developer, a fast, relatively compact model that still knocks out tough problems is pretty appealing. Still, it's not perfect. Phi-4 can stumble on extremely detailed instructions or less common facts. Microsoft also acknowledges the persistent risks of bias or harmful outputs even after repeated red teaming tests. No generative AI system is foolproof after all. This release ties into Microsoft's broader AI push. Under the new CoreAI platform and tools group, led by Jay Parrick, Microsoft is unifying its developer tools and AI infrastructure. They're aiming for an end-to-end Copilot and AI stack, and Phi-4 is part of that strategy. Smaller but mighty models that are fully open, but Satya Nadella wants Microsoft's internal boundaries to vanish in the eyes of users, so everything is integrated under a One Microsoft banner. The idea is to make agentic AI apps as routine as opening Visual Studio once was. So that's the story, a big reorg at Microsoft all about AI. Plus this major open source release of Phi-4, a 14B per mega per model you can now freely explore on Hugging Face. If you do check it out, just be mindful of its limitations, especially for high stakes use. But hey, that caution applies to any AI tool these days. What do you think? Will combining dev and AI teams at Microsoft supercharge innovation? Is open sourcing top tier models the best path for AI? There's been a viral video going around showing Engine AI's SE1 humanoid robot casually walking outside the company's Shenzhen headquarters, and people can't stop talking about it. Some viewers thought the footage was fake CGI because the robot's movements looked too natural, but Engine AI insists it's real. They haven't officially said whether a human was controlling it remotely or whether it was moving on its own, but they have highlighted that their advanced algorithms and joint modules are what give it that smooth, human-like gait. It's all happening at the same time Engine AI made its big debut at CES 2025 in Las Vegas, where they showed off 3 humanoid robots, SE1, SA1, and PM1, each aimed at different markets. The SE1 is the company's first general-purpose, full-size humanoid. It stands at about 1.7 meters tall, weighs 55 kilograms, and was designed to handle industrial tasks like heavy lifting and precise assembly. Engine AI's team says it uses a blend of deep reinforcement learning, imitation learning, and harmonic force control joints, plus an end-to-end neural network model to let it move in ways that look more like what a human would do. They say the SE1 can squat, do push-ups, and even run, which is pretty unusual for robots of this kind. Engine AI has been trying to tackle issues that have long plagued humanoid projects, stiff or awkward movements, and they're proud of how fluid SE1 is in daily scenarios. Engine AI's presence at CES showed the world the SA1 as well, which is a 40 kg bipedal humanoid built for research and education. It has an open source platform so schools and labs can customize the software or hardware to fit whatever projects they're working on. Its aluminum alloy exoskeleton makes it strong and impact resistant, and they say it can run and jump if needed. The company says it only consumes around 200 W while walking, which is fairly efficient for a robot that size. They priced it at $5,400 US, which is a figure that drew some attention because it's lower than a lot of other humanoids in this space. Engine AI mentioned that the initial orders for the SA1 exceeded their expectations, so they had to ramp up production to meet demand. Then there's the PM1, which is a newer humanoid designed to be lightweight, agile, and fully open for developers who want to push the limits of what humanoid robots can do. It's about 1.38 meters tall, weighs around 40 kilograms, and has 24 degrees of freedom. One eye-catching claim is that it can spin its waist 320 degrees, which helps it pull off some pretty acrobatic moves. The PM1 is supposed to offer both a mechanical gait mode and a more natural human gait mode, and a lot of it comes down to the software running on its onboard computing suite. Engine AI mentions compatibility with x86 architecture and NVIDIA Jetson Orin modules, so it can run cross-pencil algorithms and handle things like real-time object detection and advanced motion control. They're marketing the PM1 to both commercial and educational buyers, saying it's a nice fit for interactive demos, research, or even customer service situations. There's a promotional offer that lasts until the end of March 2025, where both the commercial and educational editions are set at around $13,700 US, or about 88,000 yuan, with a chance to upgrade from one version to the other at no extra cost. Some statements say it's closer to 12,000 US, possibly due to exchange rate differences or different configurations, but the ballpark is in that low teens range. Engine AI is led by founder and CEO Zhao Tongyang, who has been in the robotics game for a while. He launched Dogodix in 2016, focusing on humanoid robots, then co-founded XPENG Robotics, where he helped develop a quadruped robot that became successful worldwide. After that, he worked on a humanoid called PX5, which caught attention at NVIDIA's GTC 2024. Once that project took off, Zhao left XPeng Robotics and started Engine AI in 2023, raising about 100 million yuan in angel funding, roughly 13.64 million US dollars. They first showcased the SE1 in late October 2024, and then came to CES 2025 with the entire lineup ready to be seen by a global audience. Zhao says the goal is to accelerate the embodied intelligence revolution and push towards an era of artificial general intelligence. He wants robots that can handle real tasks in real environments at scale, not just stand around at trade shows. Engine AI plans to produce more than 1,000 units by the end of 2025, which is an ambitious goal, but they seem confident in their ability to ramp up production. During their CES presentation, Engine AI explained that the SE1 can do more than just basic walking. They say it's designed for tough factory work, like lifting heavy items or placing parts in precise locations on assembly lines. Because it's built with advanced joint modules, it apparently won't topple over too easily when holding awkward objects or moving across uneven floors. They also claim that all three of their robots benefit from the same general approach to AI motion control. The company used deep reinforcement learning to let the robots gain skill through trial and error, and they combined it with imitation learning that's based on actual human movements. That's how they say they achieved a gait that's more fluid than most older humanoid bots. The SA-1 is also turning heads in academic circles because it's so open and because it's less expensive than many bipedal research platforms out there. Students or lab members can dig into the robot's firmware, operating systems, or hardware attachments and add new sensors or modules as needed. That kind of openness can help accelerate robotics research because teams don't have to start from scratch. They can build on top of what Engine AI has already developed and possibly share improvements with the broader community. The SA-1 weighs about 40 kilograms and can handle a fair amount of wear and tear, which matters in lab settings where things can get banged up pretty quickly. The PM-1 is different in that it's more compact, but still capable of advanced movement. Engine AI notes that it can walk at speeds of up to 2 meters per second, about 4.4 miles per hour, which is faster than some of the robots from other companies, though not as fast as Unitree's H1, which apparently hit 3.3 m/s in a recent demo, or Robot Era's Star 1. Still, 2 m/s is quick enough for many real-world applications. But the PM-1's 320-degree waist rotation and 24 degrees of freedom let it do certain tasks with extra flexibility, maybe for creative demonstrations or for fitting into tight spaces. It has a built-in interactive core screen that reminds some people of Tony Stark's Iron Man interface, giving users an easy way to issue commands, check status, or watch sensor data. The fact that it's also open source under the hood means you can drop in your own AI or robotics frameworks and see what you can make it do. Engine AI's vibe is that they're going after that concept of embodied intelligence, where the AI learns by physically interacting with the real world. They want to move beyond pure simulations. They talk about how letting the robot experience real scenarios, walking outside or picking up boxes, trains the AI in ways that a purely virtual environment can't. This approach can help the robots improve their balance, object handling, or pathfinding, and that's especially relevant for industrial environments with random obstacles or unexpected workflow changes. The company is also aware that advanced AI and robotics can raise safety concerns, so they emphasize that they're developing security protocols to protect data and manage potential hacking threats. They haven't given a ton of details, but they say that reliability and trust are priorities. They also point to power efficiency. The SA-1's relatively low energy consumption is their example of how they want these robots to be as eco-friendly as possible. They realize that if humanoid robots become widely adopted, the energy footprint could be pretty large, unless companies focus on sustainability from the start. Engine AI's timeline is ambitious. They keep bringing up that they want to hit over 1,000 units in production and sales by the end of 2025. That's a bold claim, but they've mentioned they already delivered around 100 units in 5 months at one point, suggesting there's some demand for these systems. China's ministry in charge of industry and IT wants to see mass production of humanoids by 2025, and Engine AI is one of several companies moving in that direction. Other players like Fourier, Ubitech, Unitree, and Tesla are also tackling humanoid robots, and everyone has their own angle. Some focus on cost, some focus on high-performance hardware, some focus on open-source communities. Engine AI seems to balance all three by aiming for reasonable prices, decent hardware, and an open development model. A lot of people are curious about how these robots stack up against Tesla's Optimus project. Elon Musk has suggested an eventual cost range of $20,000 to $30,000 for Optimus, which is higher than what Engine AI is charging in these early promotions. But many of these projects are still prototypes or early-stage units. It's possible prices and capabilities will shift if any of them manage to crack big production volumes or if they hit unforeseen technical challenges. Engine AI is betting that by unveiling the SE1 first, along with the SA1 and PM1, they can grab market attention and scale up quickly. They also want to push more of the development community to get involved, especially on the SA1 and PM1 platforms. The viral video was a big win for Engine AI. People saw the SE1 strolling outside, and the footage got attention on social media sites, especially among those who follow robotics or advanced AI. There was that brief debate over whether it was CGI, which the company denies, What matters is that it got people talking about the reality of humanoids that move in a way that doesn't look stiff or mechanical. It also hinted that these robots might soon be able to function in normal urban settings, not just controlled lab floors. That's a key step if we're heading toward a future where humanoid robots might help with deliveries, retail tasks, or even basic housekeeping. People at CES got to see the SE1 do more than just walk. Engine AI set up demonstrations of it lifting objects, crouching, and doing push-ups, which suggests it's robust enough for actual work. They said that industrial scenarios are their top priority right now. They see a niche in manufacturing, where the robot can operate machines or lift items while coexisting with human workers. They also said the PM1 is an example of how they're leaning into commercial interactions. It's smaller than the SE1, can move fairly quickly, has that rotating waist, and supports real-time teleoperation or autonomy, depending on how you configure it. Because it has an interactive screen, it's plausible that it could greet customers in a showroom or store, or help run educational demos in museums or science centers. Engine AI's founder thinks we're only scratching the surface of what embodied intelligence can achieve. He sees these humanoids as stepping stones toward future robots that can adapt to just about anything. The open source side means developers can integrate new machine learning models, vision processing routines, or sensor arrays for specialized tasks. The hardware, like the harmonic drives and advanced servo actuators, is designed to manage repeated stress and remain stable. The company also hints that they'll expand the lineup with more robots in the PM or PA series, possibly for home or industrial use. Well, first, the big news about the IPL and the PA series. A big focus is on reliability and lifetime support. Engine AI wants to establish partnerships with universities, factories, and research labs, providing them not just with the robot itself, but also with updates, technical advice, and maybe even community-driven improvements. They're showing up on social media platforms like YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and X, where they share clips of the robots in motion and announcements about software updates or new features. They've even given out an official support email and phone number for inquiries. They're hoping that by connecting directly with developers and potential buyers, they can form a community around these humanoids. Industry experts see humanoid robots maturing, with Engine AI focusing on practical use and aiming for 1,000 units by 2025 to refine performance and advance toward AGI. Is everything moving too fast, or is this just how progress is meant to happen? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.